Hi, I'm Monty Belmonte.
And I'm Khalees Smith.
And this is a bonus episode of the Fabulous 413.
You may have heard earlier on today's episode how we were talking with our lovely intern from AIC, Cenai Collins, about his podcasting project. And we felt that it would be good for people to hear how it ended up turning out.
So what you'll hear next is the preview pilot episode from Cenai's podcast, Proof, The Undeniable, where Cenai Collins talks with people in his life about their mental health and ways they approach it.
We hope you enjoy.
We're wicked proud of him.
We are.
Congratulations, graduate.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first installment of the Undeniable Podcast. I am your host, Cenai Collins, for those that don't know. And being that this is the first episode in the series, I figured I'd provide y'all with a little bit of background regarding me and what y'all can expect from the Undeniable Podcast. I'm currently a senior in college studying communications with a minor in sociology. I'm also just a few weeks away from graduation, which I couldn't be more excited for because I'm tired of school. I'm also a former college athlete, having played football at American International College and Bridgewater State University. Unfortunately, my college career was cut short though because of medical retirement, and honestly, it is what it is. Life goes on. Aside from being a student and a former athlete, I'm a fiend for the gym. I'm a big fan of music and just about anything pop culture. I'm also a music producer. In fact, anytime you tune into an Undeniable Podcast episode and you hear music, it was produced by yours truly. At the end of the day, my goal for the show is to create engaging content for y'all that might inform, entertain, or inspire you through various conversations displayed through any given episode. With that being said, my first guest on the Undeniable Podcast is Zahid Muhammad, someone I consider a brother and also a mentee, if you will. Zahid is currently a freshman in college and is an individual who's gone through a plethora of things that most 19-year-olds have not gone through. He also possesses an undeniable personality that I think will show through this first episode as we cover topics such as growth, football, and mental health. So without further ado, let's get right into the episode. What would you say is the biggest difference now between 14-year-old Zahid and 19-year-old Zahid?
Maturity is a big thing. I mean, obviously that's going to come, 14 and 19-year-olds are nowhere near the same.
Right.
But it's also like how we act as people. Mm-hmm. Like 14-year-old me and 19-year-old me are two unrecognizable beings. Like 14-year-old me had dreams and aspirations, man. Going to NYU, go into computer science. But now, hell, I want to go into law and, become a corporate lawyer. Grades aren't the best, but, I'm finding my way to dig myself out of a hole. So, yeah, it's just outlook on life, the biggest change.
I think it becomes a little easier, too, to dig yourself out of a hole, the older you are, too. Because it's like when you're 14 and you feel like you're getting into a hole, you're just like, oh, it's fine, whatever, it'll pass. But then when you get older, you're like, okay, I can change this. I can change this. I can do this more. I can do this less. And, you can find a way to get to a better spot. So
exactly. And especially if you have, good friends, good family, people who are willing to understand, help, and even if not help, but just listen, it goes a long way. Also, you've known me a long time. Yep. Stuff has happened here and there, but, I remember specifically, junior year was my toughest year of, high school, as it is for a lot of kids, but, I had a friend pass away then, and it just, everything got to me all at once, yep. And, I broke. I cracked, yep. Had a moment, just sped right past a cop. Cop knew exactly what I was doing, and, got a $400 ticket that day. I'm not mad about the ticket, not mad at the cop. But from there, it was a wake-up call, I can't bottle it in anymore. That's not how you're supposed to operate life, even. I think the biggest problem is with most people is, they're afraid to just even speak up about something. Because it's oh, what if people don't accept me? Or, what if people think my struggles aren't real? And, the struggles are real. Maybe it's different person to person, but your struggles are real.
There's so much stigma, I feel just in society in general, with being different than anyone else. So having a mental illness, for example, or, dealing with depression or anxiety or multiple things at once. And like you said, I've known you for a long time, and you're someone who things tend to pile on. Something will happen, it'll get resolved, and then 4 more things will happen.
Right.
And then it's this cycle. It's it's nothing you're doing. It's just for whatever reason. It's just the cards you drew, I guess.
Yeah, and I learned there's only 2 things you can really do about it. You can complain about it, or you can figure out what to do about it, right? And don't get me wrong, complaining is helpful. Don't it's not I'm not saying don't ever complain. Hell, complain, get it off your chest. It helps to vent. But then after that, you gotta figure out what to do, and that case and example. Like, I don't know. Like I said, my grades are not doing so hot right now, but like, I know, one, I'm going to complain because that's human nature. Complaining is normal. And then on top of that, now you got to realize who do I got to talk to? I got to talk to advisors, teachers, see what I can do. Like, school's ending soon. You got to do something. You got to be proactive. If you're going to sit there and complain only, you're cooked. You're done.
Always got to be proactive, never reactive. Being reactive is like the worst possible thing you can do, especially like when a situation's happening to you, because there's always something you can do to fix the situation. At least in my experience, and like hindsight, obviously hindsight's 20/20. Like you understand things better when you look back, but it's like there's always something you can do in the moment. It's all about being able to control what you can control. And I think that's something that I've learned, and that's something I've seen you adapt recently too. Like, because I remember when you were younger, like 16, 17, I would try to tell you that, and it wouldn't really click. And I realized to a certain point, like, you just have to experience it yourself and figure it out yourself. And that is definitely something you're obviously doing now. So that's great to see.
I mean, well, I remember we had a conversation specifically about, like, I'm not where I want to be in life, and like nothing is working out for me, and everything just keeps piling on. And you're like, you actually got sick of it. It's like, I'm tired of telling you this. At one point, you're just gonna learn it out yourself.
It's true.
And I was like, damn, bro, that's cold. But like looking back on it, like that was probably one of the better conversations we had, because as soon as I kind of just learned, like, these things do just happen. You have no control in them. It is what it is. Like, if you fail the class, you fail the class. Figure out what to do next time. And that's kind of the lessons I've been learning now.
Yeah. And it's like there's only like so much other people can teach you. Like you're saying, you have to, like I was saying and you were saying, you have to experience it yourself before it really becomes like set in stone, before you have that realization, like, okay, what this person was saying is fact. Like, I think you, especially right now, given all that has happened, I'd say over this last 4-year period, to see where you were to where you are now, it's night and day. So very proud of you for that.
I don't know what to say to that. It's just, well, there's a lot of lessons I've had to learn, whether they were good or bad. Had to learn them.
Got to learn them one way or another.
Yeah, you learned a lot. Either it was through football, school, friends, girls, work, family, whatever it was. Like, I had to learn them one way or another, and that shaped me to who I am now. I'm not complaining. I think, not to be bragging or have an ego, but I think I'm a pretty good dude.
You are a good dude. I think anybody that's come across you knows you're a good dude. I mean, there's always that one or two people that they don't count.
I had the hate club.
The hate club? Oh, yes, I do remember that.
That was funny.
That was a funny era.
Yeah.
But you mentioned football, and that was the next thing I wanted to get into. Because football is how we met. Without football, I don't think we had this bond.
100%.
So with that said, right, your first lift, right? Or one of your first lifts? Okay. What was that like for you? What was that experience for you, like, getting into the high school football? Because you didn't play football before.
So I had a big thing for football when I was younger, but I got Indian parents, and like, contact sports is a big no-no. Yep. Go play tennis, go start swimming, hell, soccer even. But I was a big-ass kid. Soccer isn't my sport.
All right.
I'm not built for soccer. And I'll say, hey, I have a love-hate relationship with football. Still do to this day. But that first lift, like, it was good, but I always felt so behind because, like, all my friends are lifting more weight than me. And I think, you were there for that lift. You were coaching.
Was it that first one?
Yeah.
I remember I came forward.
No, it's not the first one. It was one of the lifts right after that.
It was an early one, I remember.
Yeah. And you were, like, just giving me advice. But that first lift of, like, learning how to squat, how to bench, like, because we're testing out maxes that day of just, like, your base, like, hey, what do we got to work on right now?
The baseline.
And it was, like, we did sprints and stuff, and it was just, like, that was different. Especially because I never played a sport when I was younger. I wasn't the most athletic. I was none of that. So, yeah.
I think you guys had an advantage, too, because, for context, this was my senior year, his freshman year. So I had already been in this program for 4 years, and I think you guys had an advantage because that's when the coaches decided to split the lift. So the freshmen had their lift in the afternoon, and then everyone else lifted in the morning. And I think that was a little easier on you guys because you could compete with one another without it feeling like this drastic task. Whereas when I was a freshman, I was in there trying to compete with the juniors and the seniors, like the guys who had been playing, I had been playing forever too, but like those guys playing high school football forever. Those guys have been in the gym forever. So it was hard too, especially because they didn't have a sense of respect for like Ehorn that you guys did when you came in, because he was brand new, we were brand new. So it's just kind of like the old regime was still there and still kind of corrupting the program before, the changes that needed to be made were made. So that in itself made lift so much harder, because it was like, okay, this is the first time we're coming in here every day at 6 a.m. This is the first time, we're expected to move heavyweight, but it's like we're freshmen. We just got here. We were in high school, and we had to just adjust to, the juniors and senior speed very quickly. Where with you guys had a different coach. You guys had a different, because you had McCarthy, right?
Yeah, we had McCarthy for lifts, and then we also had Stu.
Yep. So it was just kind of, it was like a little different, but I think you guys I think it made it easier for you guys to integrate with us too afterwards, because like when me and, I can't remember who the other person was, but when we came in that day, we got to meet you guys and then, chop it up a little bit aside from the weight room. That also was able to set a precedent for the rest of the season. And I think that was super important because that's how we bonded so well. That was the first time we bonded, and I think it also kind of flipped the switch for me, where I'm like, okay, now I'm the oldest guy here. I need to set an example. You know what I mean? So to that point, fast forward to your junior and senior year.
Yep.
What was that leadership role for you? Like, what did that feel like taking that on?
I mean, I'm going to be honest. Junior year, I was not as good as I wanted to be. I had a tough season. I only started like 4 games, and the other 4 I had to play for the JV team because we were missing linemen. And it's like, that sucked. I won't lie. That took a toll on my mental health, just like, because football was a big part of my life then. But like, I realized there were still kids looking up to me, weirdly enough. And I didn't realize that then. But soon as, like, the seniors from my junior year, because I was good friends with them, hung out with them outside of school. These guys were my actual friends. I realized, like, oh, they're gone. Like, we also had our coach gone right after. He went MIA. No disrespect to him. He had a kid, too. Like, I understand. Your family comes first. But he didn't communicate with us at all. So I was left scrambling. And I realized, like, this was, like, one of the first lessons of, like, complain or do something about it. We were coaching ourselves. We were like self-sufficient almost, and that definitely helped with us. And then, like, I'm grateful that I was on the coaching interview process. We got the coaches to come in. We picked Coach Vinny, which he came in. He helped during sevens too. I tried to help like set up lifts over the summer, and then eventually got started too. It was more of a lead by example. I didn't. A part of me wanted to be in that leadership, but a part of me didn't. Because I still thought I wasn't good enough, but then I realized, like, oh, I'm one of the oldest on the team. I do have that strength, and people listen and respect. It goes a while. So, yeah, it just led by example of sorts. Like, it's not like I tell kids to do anything. I'm not like, oh, I'm older, like, go do this, go do that. I'm just like, if I see something, I'm going to do something type of thing, and kind of spread through the team. So, yeah. I remember one of the most, like, crucial moments for me in football is, like, I could get through a conditioning for...
Yep, I remember.
Excuse my language, but I remember I was in the locker room. I'm like, about to, like... I was like, I think I'm done. Like, I can't do this stuff. And you stopped me in the locker room and like... I was like you at one... Like, you're screaming at me. I was like you at one point. I could do a conditioning. I could do anything. We'll start working. You gotta want it more than anyone else. And then when we're going into playoffs and stuff, I was like... A lot of the freshmen stopped showing up at the point. Right? They were trying to just be there for Gillette.
Yep.
I was there every day for practice and stuff. And even the coaches were kind of noticing I'm, like, ramping up, like, starting picking up progress and stuff like that. Like, I spent time with, like, upperclassmen just practicing form and stuff. I know I'm grateful for having those upperclassmen, like, willing to sit down with me and just, like, spend time practicing form and get off. Like, Nolan, he was only a year older than me. He helped me just get off. You and Jack just helped me, like, drive my feet in. Even Owen Fournette, like, I love the guy. He's like a brother to me, too. Like, he took me under his wing during school stuff and just, like, helped me learn plays, to learn more of a aggressive mindset. Because that was the problem with me my freshman year. I couldn't flip that switch in football, that controlled aggression.
I was either hit or miss. Like, I was either too aggressive where it was out of control, and I would get penalties, or, you know, I'd get annoyed and lose focus on what like my job is on a play. Or if it wasn't that, the switch wouldn't really flip at all, and it would result in me kind of the same thing. I'm missing blocks, missing assignments. But it's like once I started getting older, and once like I want to say maybe junior year hit, I think the real point for me was going to that UMass camp the end of my sophomore year, because everybody there had offers, like D1 offers.
Same camp I went to in the sophomore year. Yeah, I get it.
And it was like all these D1 coaches were there. Like the Michigan coaching staff was there. It was just crazy. And I think that's when I realized that I wasn't going to get to where I wanted to go if I didn't like kind of figure it out. Because it's like nobody can teach me that. Nobody can get it really get it out of me, because people have tried and it hasn't necessarily worked. It's more just, you know, like you said, you have to flip the switch, you have to learn how to do it, and once you do it, like, you're unstoppable. And I think that's where a lot of comparisons between us like actually exist. Like a lot of people say we're very similar in ways that we're not, but that is definitely one of the there's also a lot of ways we are similar, and that is definitely one of the ways. To that similarity point, what do you think, because we've heard a lot of comparisons, right? What do you think are some of the most like accurate ones?
I don't know. I think it's like the way we've carried ourselves. I know a lot of people come up to you for advice and stuff, and after a little while, a lot of people start coming up to me for advice and stuff like that, just because it's like the severity of stuff I've gone through, where I'm like, for the most part, I'm generally unfazed by a lot of things, just because it's like, you know, I've dealt with worse. So just that advice aspect. And I think another thing is just how we're able to carry ourselves through hard times. I've seen you go through it sometimes. I've seen you like just go AFK, and I understand like this is him like trying to piece himself together, do his own thing, and that's like a thing I really respect. And I think a lot of people understand that if I'm not responsive or I'm not doing anything, if I'm just like ghosting, then it means I'm doing my own thing too now, and like, you know, learning how to mature from it, whatever may have happened. So
always room for growth and maturity. And I feel like for me, at least, like you just said, it kind of comes when I kind of just tap out from everything else happening. Like, because I make a lot of time. I mean, you can change it if you think, or, you know, give your opinion, but I feel like I give a lot of time to like everyone else, like to my friends and, you know, what they're got going on, because I want everybody to like be on the level that I'm on. And like, you know, I want everybody to just be the best they can possibly be at, you know, at all times. So I think I tend to, even if I am dealing with something, I tend to put all my focus on something else. So then once all of those situations are figured out, that's when I'm like, okay, now I'm going to go, you know, take my time and be out of the loop and, you know, reset or whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like through that, I've helped you and whoever else grow in whatever they're, you know, and take into perspective different situations and all that. And I've also let myself do it, because I've been able to balance your guys' situation along with my own too, if I'm dealing with something.
Right. No, I definitely agree. I think it's the same thing with me. For me, for the most part, I think people are able to realize that, at least. And, you know, I'm grateful I have people that come out and reach for me if they think, like, there's a difference between, like, not wanting to be disturbed by the world versus shutting yourself out from the world.
100%.
Those are two different things. And I won't lie, sometimes it's been like I'm shutting myself from the world. And I'm grateful I've had people like you, Max, like Alex, that then like come to my house and just like make sure I'm okay and like drag me out and go do something. Like, as stupid as it was when I first failed my driver's test, I was just wanting to be in bed and spend it like for the rest of the day. My friends came by, through my window, dragged me out, went to a basketball game, and then went to watch Batman that day with you guys too.
Yep.
And it was like,
that was a massive group.
Yeah, it was like 30 kids.
It was crazy.
And it was just like, that made it such a better day already. So like, I think it's important also just to have your own time.
For sure.
So
last but most definitely not least for the Undeniable Podcast is the Mental Health Minutes, coming right now. 3 questions for you. You can answer as long or as short as you want to. First one. We all have things to be grateful for, right? And I think a part of the keeping a positive mindset and stuff is always being aware and acknowledging the things that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So to that point, give me 3 things you're grateful for.
You know what's funny? My girlfriend said I had a lot of stuff to be grateful for. I was feeling bad for myself and stuff like that, which, again, hey, complaining is not bad. You have a right to complain, I think.
For sure.
Everyone does.
Everyone does.
Right? It's about what you do afterwards. And she's like, you know what? Clearly you're not in a helping mood right now. I'm gonna listen to you and let you complain. And, like, you know, that's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for my circle, and that's my friends and, like, girlfriend, like, people who help me keep my stuff in perspective. Because, like, again, damn well I could have died yesterday, and not a single person would have known for, like, who knows how long. I was 2 hours away from home, right? And then another thing I'm grateful for is my family. Like, we've gone through it. You can't ever stop that. And last thing I'm grateful for is, I don't know, life, man. I'm grateful to be alive. There's people out there who passed away, and they inspire me to keep going, because, like, dying is not a good thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Those are some good answers. How would you say, at this point in time, given all the things you've gone through, how would you say you best keep your mental health in, like, a positive state? Or how do you try to do that? How do you attempt to do that?
All right. If we're being completely honest, hey, like, real stuff, like, I could have died yesterday. I was in a car accident that was pretty bad, right, in upstate New York. But I had someone there immediately, like, willing to drop everything, come pick me up, 30 minutes out, picked me up, gave me a place to stay that night, and that stuff is what keeps me positive. Like, I have people care about me, and that's important for people to realize. Like, if it ever gotten to the point where you're thinking about taking your own life, there's people there to care about you. There's people who will cry for you, and I realized that when my friend died, too. Like, his mom was crying in my arms. Like, that pain does not go away anytime. And it's those lessons that help me keep me positive. Like, beauty of life, I guess. Just knowing that emotions exist like that keeps me good.
This has been a great, great episode. I appreciate you coming on again. If you want to plug your socials, you can do that now.
All right. Follow me on Instagram. It's zgotwhips. Well, not anymore. Funny story on that one. And yeah, that's about it.
All right, you heard it here. Undeniable Podcast. We will be back next week with another episode. Same energy, same vibes, different guest. But don't worry, you guys will hear from Zahid again later on down the line. I got something special planned out. That's for a later date. You'll find out when it happens. Until the next episode, I will see you guys. Stay happy, stay blessed, stay positive, stay motivated. This has been the Undeniable Podcast.